radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession.
Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man. How you doing? How you doing? All right. Today's Monday, March 29th, 2021. Total undisclosed location, but it is beautiful. How you doing? All right. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. I am your host, Jimmy Church, and I just got reports that Spreaker audio is just a little low. Now, I'm going to say this. We're in the middle of it, man. All right. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? All right. Here we go, kicking off another week here on Fade to Black. And that's right. Had to move it. And I'll get to more of it in a second. I don't have my normal chair. I've got some just a chair for tonight. And we'll slowly get things pieced together. And now, before I've got guitar. We actually made this happen. So there you go. Okay, now. Everything else, I think we're pretty solid. I think we're pretty good, and it's how do I say this? It's a work in progress. I spent all day today setting up, and it's a lot of gear. It's a lot of cables. It's a lot of things, and as you can see, it's not a bunker anymore. Totally. This is guerrilla radio. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm really digging it. And so we'll get it all modified up and we'll make it the bunker once again as we move along. Okay, but there you go. Now, kicking off this week, another amazing week here on Fade to Black. So tonight, Yvonne Smith is back with us Tomorrow night, Kathleen Martin is. That's tomorrow night with Kathleen. And then Wednesday night, Lucinda Morel is here with us for the first time. And that's going to be an amazing show. So you're going to want to. Now, it's kind of weird. Is this like ladies' night this week? Yvonne Smith, Kathleen Martin, and Lucinda Morel. That's just amazing. And then, of course, Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. To me, it sounds better. It's all the same gear, right? But it's weird. It just sounds better. Yeah, weird. Okay, I have no idea why I would even say such a thing, but there you go. Okay. All right. Over the weekend, I want to thank the Dark Zone. Saturday night, I was over at the LAPD Police Museum. And that was an amazing time, and just a lot of interesting things happened. But it was just amazing. I want to thank the Dark Zone and Susan Slaughter. She's such a great host, and it was an amazing time on Saturday. So thank you, the Dark Zone. And you can go to thedarkzone.tv. And check it out. Okay, it was really cool. We caught now IVP caught an EVP, and we were and if you were there and you saw it, we had a little digital recorder, and Brandon was recording and playing it back in real time, and there was nothing there, and then all of a sudden, bam, right? And I was telling everybody, after I asked the question, everybody quiet. And there it was. Yeah. I think it was a female voice, too, as well. Man, that was absolutely unbelievable. My first EVP. Very, very cool. All right. Coming up June 6th through the 12th, I will be in Laughlin, Nevada, and for the UFO MegaCon. And I want everybody to come and hang out with us. It's real. It's in person. It's at the Aquarius Casino, Hotel and Casino. It's in Laughlin. It's going to be great. It's a week long, June 6th through the 12th. And all you have to do is go to Laughlin, UFOMegaConference.com. And I've got some of the links up in social media. I've been down for 4 days now, including Friday. Saturday, I was out. I was doing the Dark Zone at the LAPD Museum. Yesterday, tearing down the bunker. Today, setting up the bunker and getting everything. I've been out. I was supposed to get that video done, and I didn't for Paul. It's incredible. I've got it set up, but I just didn't get anything finished. So I promise everybody, I'll get to the video. I'll get settled in. And I will get back to getting you all the information that you need for these conferences and everything else. Okay? All right. Now, remember, there's only a 250-person limit at the UFO MegaCon. That's it. So all of you Fadernauts, get your tickets now. Get them now. I don't want you to be disappointed if it sells out. All right. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, at JChurchRadio. Follow me there. And hashtag F2B is the sandbox. It's live right in front of me. I have the Spreaker chat is over there. It's weird. The bunker's now flip-flopped. Normally everything is over here. And now the video and the radio feeds on those two computers are now over here. And they're a long ways away, too. They're way over there. But I can see the Spreaker chat is active. And, of course, there's the video. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got to get all sitiated. It's close, though. It's pretty close in here. It's not perfect. But considering the pile of cables and boxes and things that I started off this morning, just looking at it going, oh, man. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Hashtag F2BQs, fade to black questions. And you can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at jimmychurchradio.com. Oh, I'm looking at these pictures, and let me look at this. Oh, yeah, okay, those look pretty good. All right, I can deal with that. I was concerned about the lighting, but man, maybe I'm not going to change up the lighting. Yeah, is that the way it's looking right now in the bunker? Man, I'm cool with that. I was wondering, and because this is a whole nother lighting setup, and I don't have my atomic clock. Oh, that's the other thing. Don't have my atomic clock. I don't know what to do. But I'll make it. We'll get set up. All right, let's get to the breaking news. Federal prosecutors filed sex trafficking charges against Ghislaine Maxwell, the former associate of Jeffrey Epstein, alleging she recruited and groomed a 14-year-old girl to engage in sex acts with Epstein as recently as 2004. Prosecutors allege Maxwell and Epstein and I still don't know what to make of it. And it is the tennis shoes, the Satan Nikes, Lil Nas X's unofficial Satan Nikes, containing human blood, 1 drop of human blood, sold out in under a minute. The limited edition, they call these. He says they got nothing to do with these shoes. Absolutely nothing. Oh, man. And I had heard, I don't want to get details because I didn't. Today is 71. And our dead guy's birthday today, Patty Donahue, 1956 to 1996, died at the age of 40. Donahue, who had been a heavy smoker most of her adult life, died of lung cancer in New York at the age of 40. Happy birthday, Patty. On this day in history, 1974, the U.S. space probe Mariner 10, Mercury. That's right, because everybody in China in the 3rd century had bad breath. There you go. And I'm being interrupted, and the door needs to be closed. Today, very special guest, Yvonne Smith. Okay. I wanted to talk to you guys about why we are here. Everything good? Okay. What? Okay. Okay. I'm live on the air, and that's strange. I am there, and I've got no interruptions. Now we're in a new location, bunker. Very, very little sleep, and normally at this stage of the game, coming into the show, I'm fresh and ready. It's not that kind of party tonight. I am toasted. I am so tired, and I worked all weekend, going back to last Thursday, and I haven't stopped. So anyway, this is what to move from something that was more commercial, I should say, and in a perfect environment, to this truly guerrilla, ground hanging, and this vibe is fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, there was a couple of things that I wanted to get to. One of the, because there's so many cables, there's so many parts, there's so many things, so many little things, and even with the bunker, for 8 years, where it evolved, but a lot of the gear, once it's plugged in and set, it's not touched again. And you always need to go through and do a rewire and just take things apart and put things back together and clean it and do things. I didn't do any of that. I just let it run. And disassembling YouTube is freezing. I don't care. I can't do anything about YouTube. Everything is fine on this end. So that's it. You guys can post whatever you want. There's nothing I can do. Okay? The show has already started. Okay? All right. Okay. Disassembling everything and putting everything back together. Everything is cleaned. Electronic connections are put together, and it's a much better thing. And what I am hearing is incredible. Now, like I said, everything else will just get ironed out in the future, and we'll get to all of that. The other part is why the move. It had to happen. It had to happen, and again, I don't want anybody to freak out or things and rumors and stuff like that. But sometimes things have to happen, and this is a good thing. I am happy, and the environment is cool, and I just can't wait to get through not only tonight, but to finally get some sleep and relax and get to tomorrow. Tomorrow. Whew. All right. Oh, man. Now, tonight we have Yvonne Smith on the show. And one of the segments of the UFO community that is now starting to get the attention that it deserves are experiencers. And I know that I've made light of people of Earth over the years. It's a great series. experiencers and getting together in a group. I've never done it. I would love to be able to go and sit in on one of those group meetings and seeing what that is all about. I don't know if I classify myself as an experiencer. What is the definition? Now, we're going to have Yvonne Smith here with us at the bottom of the hour. But I've thought about this a lot. And over the last 6 months, this is a group and this is a part of our community that is being talked about right now. When we go back and we look and we've got UAPs and we've got the special report coming out and that's all got a military slant. It's a military side to things. And they don't include or really care much about the experiencer community. I don't know what the numbers are. It's got to be in the millions. And to take into account what so many have gone through before, and it's at different levels. We know, close encounters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what have you. I don't know if I fall into that classification. What I have seen up in the skies, right? Have I made direct contact? Not that I know of. I had my experience, and I just said it, right? Experience an event that I went through back in 1995, and I still don't know really what happened there, and I don't really have an interest to find out more. I kind of want to let that experience just stay where it is. I don't know if it's negative, if it's positive. I don't know if anything else happened. I don't know. I don't know any of those details. But I don't know if I'm an experiencer. So would I be welcomed into one of these groups? Like People of Earth, like CERO with Yvonne Smith. Would I be welcomed? What is it that I would say to the group? Hi, my name's Jimmy, and I had this sighting, and I had another sighting, and I had another sighting, and get into the sleep paralysis issues. Is that enough? Or is the group going to go, oh, come on, man. What are you doing here? Right? And then there's the other part for me where I have heard over and over again directly from people and witnesses that have gone through these things. At what point do we go, is this some kind of social enigma that people are going through, and this is a psychosis? Is it imagination? Is it something else? Is it a false memory? Is it caused from reading too much science fiction, watching too many movies, listening to others, staying up too late on YouTube? Is that what is causing this? I just don't think so. Is it half the planet? I don't know what these numbers are, but the numbers are huge. So we need to, and this goes back to John Mack, and this goes back a ways, where we need to sit and discuss and try to figure out what is going on. The experiencer side of this, and I know everybody's excited about the UAP task force and disclosure and what the military may be bringing to us and the Senate intelligence. That's all fine. All right? We're going to have to sit and wait for it. It's the experiencer side. The military side, they're going to have their view, they're going to have their take, and they're going to say what they want. It's everybody else out there. Like Travis Walton. It's everybody like that has had Whitley Strieber, right? So there you go. Lucinda Morel is going. Well, of course, we have Kathleen Martin with us tomorrow night. Lucinda Morel, another experiencer, is going to be with us on Wednesday. These are conversations that have to be had, and I will continue to push it forward. So somebody said to me, and the reason why I bring this up, Jimmy, are you an experiencer? And in fact, Yvonne asked me this a couple of weeks ago. I had asked if I could come and hang out at a CERO session, and she looked right at me. But Jimmy, are you an experiencer? I don't know if I am. I don't think so. Maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, very strange. Very strange. And I want to get to these clear definitions of what an experiencer is. Oh, and there was one other part that I wanted to bring up. It's really weird. If you're in any type of electronic document and you are typing, experiencer is not a word. You have to add it to the dictionary, right? It's not a word. Contactee, not a word. I always thought that they were. Experiencer seems like it should be in the dictionary with a clear definition right there. So we're going to do all of that tonight with Yvonne. Let's get to this. What is an experiencer and why is it so important today? I am your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Exciting. Got a new bunker. Seriously undisclosed location. And I'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at getthetea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. Getthetea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's getthetea.com. Getthetea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. New bunker, new studio, and one of my favorite people, Yvonne Smith, is joining us tonight. Tomorrow night, Kathleen Martin. Wednesday night, Lucinda Morel is here for the first time. But tonight, it's about Yvonne Smith. Yvonne became concerned with victims of post-traumatic stress disorder. And I am now tongue-tied. I'm excited. In the late 1980s, and in 1990, received her certification from the California Hypnosis Motivation Institute. She immediately began to work with PTSD victims, assisting them and encouraging them to work through and cope with their PTSD. Now, while maintaining personal contact with her subjects, many were describing a pattern of alien abduction and other close encounter experiences. Then in 1991, Yvonne founded CERO, the Close Encounter Resource Organization. Since 1991, Yvonne extensively co-lectured with Harvard's John Mack, Bud Hopkins, David Jacobs, right here in the United States, and at MIT and several other universities. Yvonne's television appearances have included MSNBC, the Discovery Channel, the History Channel, Montel Williams Show, Encounter, Sightings, Rosanne Barr, the Joan Rivers Show, and the Leeza Show. She has published 2 books, Coronado, and most recently Chosen, Recollections of UFO Abductions Through Hypnotherapy. And her website and links are right there at JimmyChurchRadio.com. And I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Yvonne Smith. Yvonne, how are you?
I am good, Jimmy. How are you? Thank you for having me back.
It's great to hear. It's great to hear your voice, and of course, it was great to finally hang out with you once again a couple of weeks ago after the crazy year of 2020.
Yes. Oh, yes. That was so nice to sit around the table like we all used to and have drinks and conversation. That was very encouraging. I think we're slowly getting back to normal, although probably a new normal. But I think things are looking up now.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're taking the turn on this whole thing. I mean, it was inevitable that we would eventually, but I just feel it. I feel it. I feel it.
I do too.
So
I do too.
And that being said, there is. I kind of want to get straight to it tonight with you. Instead of going backwards and how did you get into this and, right now, today, and I mentioned this earlier in my opening comments, that it seems to me, Yvonne, that experiencers are finally getting the recognition, not only inside of our community, but around the world now. This is a discussion that is starting to happen out in the open. But before we get there, I mean, that's the vibe I'm getting. It's the definition of an experiencer. Because what did you say to me 2 weeks ago? I said, when I asked you, Yvonne, can I come hang out at CERO? And you looked right at me, Jimmy, are you an experiencer? Right? And stopped me dead in my tracks. I had to really contemplate if I was or not. But what is the definition of an experiencer?
Well, I use the terms abductee and experiencer interchangeably when I'm, lecturing or talking like yourself, on the radio show, because some people feel that they've been abducted. They've been taken against their will, and they're not happy about it, and they feel, that they're not in control of their lives. And they're respected for that. I mean, in my group CERO, as you mentioned, everyone is on a different level with how they handle this. Like we all handle grief differently. I mean, I just attended this past Saturday, memorial service for one of our longtime CERO members. I mean, she was with me 30 years, Charlene, and I miss her dearly. And I just thought about, how we all handle grief. It's not the same. We don't have rules on how to handle it. And it's the same with people who have been, who've had contact. Now, I believe my colleague and dear friend, Dr. John Mack, coined the expression experiencer because he was coming across people that were feeling they were becoming more spiritual and they had positive experiences, so they felt that they were not taken against their will. They had given permission. So that's why I don't want to leave anyone out. So I will use those terms interchangeably because I know after, 3 decades of doing my work, how people will handle it so differently. And that's why. So I'll say, okay, initially a person will be taken usually in childhood, early childhood. I just did a regression on sisters who were taken when they were 7 and 8 years old. And that's not unusual. That's the norm with all of this. The experience will follow them throughout their lives. It will also, it may lay dormant for a year or more, but then something else will happen, so it doesn't really go away. I can't make it go away. I'm asked all the time. I wish I had that power. Then it'll affect their children and their children's children. I mean, it's always, I interview an individual, then I'm speaking to their family members, their father, their mother, their grandparents. So it's a lifelong experience. Now, at some point, people who've been taken will, once they come to terms with what happened to them, and they're, with the help of therapy sessions, with the group sessions together, the CERO meetings, and they know they're not alone, they'll start incorporating this experience into their lives because they have to go to work. We all pay bills. We have to pay taxes, unfortunately. Our life goes on. Oh, sorry, my dog. Life goes on. So they will then start looking at this on a different level. And most of them I have found have told me, when they've asked, if you had a choice, would you want this to not ever happen to you? And many of them will say, no, I don't. I'm glad for this experience. It has made me grow. It's made me realize that I'm no longer living in my safety little box of life, that there is something greater out there. And, people feel that they have just become a better person because of it. And in this experience, eventually they go through what I've called a graduation period, where once all that fear, dissipates and they're taken time and time again, they have found that they have been, selected to assist the alien beings on helping other abductees coming into the ship, calming them down, escorting them from one place to another on the spacecraft. I mean, when I started discovering this, I was amazed, and these were from people who were absolutely terrified in the very beginning.
Does there have to be, Yvonne, an abduction component to this in being an experiencer?
Do you mean, does there have to be the examination?
You're right, an abduction. Do you have to be taken? Right.
The cases that I've come across, and the reason people come to me because I specialize in PTSD. No matter, I've worked with others who have not been abducted, but they've gone through trauma in their lives. So they're suffering from PTSD. All the symptoms are the same. So the people who come to me and we go through the regressions, then they will, a typical scenario will come out about them being taken, being escorted on the ship, being on the table, and so forth. And what do you mean, Jimmy, by saying do they all have to be?
Well, for instance, to have that component included into what an experiencer actually is, in that, because you have a contactee. Maybe a contactee wasn't abducted, but maybe saw something or saw an ET and spoke to them, but wasn't, on a ship or didn't get abducted against their will or so forth, where these definitions are. Because when you ask me if I was an experiencer, well, I haven't been abducted. So am I excluded from the party?
But do you know for a fact you haven't been abducted?
Mm-mm.
So I remember you shared.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if I should say this on the air.
You can.
You shared what, and I remember you shared this a couple of years ago, and last time I was on the show, and even when we were talking, at one of the conferences, you shared what you remembered. And it was exactly the same in people who experience something and they're not making it up or lying. It's always the same every time they tell it. That's what you remember consciously. But there are most likely areas where we need to fill in, possibly. The subconscious will block out part or all of the traumatic experience because that's what it does. That's its job. What the people that you had said, you talked about where they were contacted and possibly by an alien being and communicated with, and supposedly there was not that, they did not have that abduction scenario. Possibly, I've spoken to many people that have said, I know I've been contacted, but it's all been very positive, and I wasn't terrified, and all of that, and hopefully that's the case. But I've also spoken to people who have told me that, but then something happened. They had another memory or experience where they wanted to find out if there was something more to it. still, they weren't terrified or anything like that, but it seemed to be different. So I have taken those people into regression, and then, much to their surprise, the typical abduction, examinations, taking or DNA, things that happen all the time happen to them. So it could be where some of these people don't remember that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're going on with their lives, if they're functioning and they're, raising their children, and that's fine. I'd say just continue on with your life. They don't need my help. The people that come to me do need my help because it's affecting their memories, partial memories are affecting their lives. They're not able to function. It's affecting their jobs. They're having nightmares. They're having recurring dreams. And if the people that feel they've had positive experiences, I say that's great. Go on with your life. If something happens where something changes, then seek out help. But otherwise, I wouldn't open up a can of worms if you don't need to.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always been my attitude. I don't want to know, right? My part of it was cool. I guess it wasn't cool, but it was. But I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it the way that it's sitting. And to find out that it was something else than what I remember, I just don't know if I need that or if I want to go and pursue it. But so many have, and if you don't want to, Jim, I know you've told me this many times. If you're at that point still that you just don't want to remember, you're fine with what you remembered, then I'd say leave it. But people who have had strange, like I call it high strangeness type experiences, and they're, they haven't been able to talk about it. They want to talk to other people who've had, paranormal or just strangeness. Then, I do welcome them into the group. I mean, I have to screen them, of course, because it's private, as you know, and it's by invitation only. But when they speak to other people who've had strangeness in their lives, they do feel better because they're not feeling like, they're the only ones, or did they make it up? So can you take me through? Can you take me through this screening process? How do and invitation only? How do you find out about somebody, and what is that process? And then how do you vet them?
Well, the members will ask, can my coworker come, and they tell me a little bit of background about them and what happened, or a family member or so forth. And since they're being invited by a family or a family, well, CERO is a family, by a CERO member, then they are welcome to come and sit in, as many times they'll say, I don't really want to talk. I just want to listen and see what happened to everybody. And then eventually they'll start talking. I think most of the time people want to share, because they've not talked to anybody about it. And many of the members were my clients who I've worked with individually in regression sessions, where I know that I think this person would really benefit from meeting other people. And that's where most of the members happened, are the clients that I work with.
So when somebody is new to the group, right, first time, the rest of the group is pretty comfortable knowing that you did your due diligence before somebody is going to go and sit down at the group.
Right, exactly. And so we've never opened it up to the public, or announced our meetings, online or anything like that, because the whole purpose of the meetings is to provide a private, safe haven for people to feel comfortable about sharing their experiences. Most of the time, that's the only place they could really talk about it. We've never allowed audio taping, videotaping, anything like that in the meetings. And, it's been around for 29 years, Jimmy, so far so good.
The how big? Okay, I want to talk some numbers here really quick, without giving away everything. But how big is CERO? Did you expect it to get that big? And then the second part of the question is, when we're talking about experiencers worldwide, is that number in the millions? So let's start with CERO first.
Oh gosh, we started, well, 6 of us in my living room back in, when did I start? 1992. And I realized, I didn't plan on starting a support group, but I realized that people who were coming to see me were leaving my office and they really didn't have anyone to talk to or anywhere to go. And that was back then when we didn't have, there was no Facebook or anything like that online. We were barely coming into email. That's when I was printing out all the invitations to the meeting and running to the post office 2 weeks prior to each meeting and sending out those invitations. So we started off with 6 of us, and then there were, when they established that they were going to do it monthly, it just started growing. And my gosh, my living room, people were sitting on the floor, on the staircase. I think I had as many as 25 to 30 people in a meeting when people found out that there was a support group meeting happening. So eventually I had to start looking for different venues because I got a divorce. I didn't have my house anymore. And plus I wanted to keep my home, separated from my work. And so I started looking for different venues. So we eventually found 2 different venues for people who are coming in from, say, as far north as San Francisco, Santa Barbara, the San Fernando Valley. And then we would switch to the next month and go down to the Orange County areas. We had people coming up from San Diego. And that's what we've been doing, is we alternate each month. And
how big, and how big has CERO gotten?
Well, over the years, we probably had a few hundred going in and out of the group. They don't all, stay forever because they'll maybe move away, or their lives have changed and they move on. And, but I've had people that started with me many years ago that have come back to the meetings. So, it's been, over the years we've had, I say in our venues, in the private rooms that we've had in the different areas that we meet in, we've had, I think the largest meeting we've had is regular meeting, like 25 people. When we have the last time, last February, which was our last in-person meeting before COVID shut everything down, we had about 35 people because we had a guest speaker, Kamarian Rudnick, who wrote a book about his experiences, and this is two brothers that have been having contact. And that was our last in-person meeting. So we haven't met. We haven't met for over a year. We've had Zoom meetings, which is great. It's better than not meeting at all. But we're going to attempt to have our first in-person meeting again in July. And I cross my fingers that the COVID numbers still stay low and everything moves forward, because everybody misses it.
Oh, certainly. And we're going to head towards a break right here. But the meetings that happened, well, before 2020, okay, let's be clear. But the meetings, were they typically the same group month after month, over the years? Or was it, did you always have fresh faces?
We've had fresh faces throughout the years. There's always the regulars, which, people they love coming and they look forward to them. So, and we still have our regulars. But it seems, oh my gosh, before COVID, we had new people coming just about every month. And I'm getting new people seeking help, booking their sessions. I had 2 of them today. So I get maybe 2 or 3 new people a week.
Wow. Wow,
so
that says something to me, Yvonne.
It does.
Yeah, let's take our break. Let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Yvonne Smith is with us. Of course, her group is called CERO, the Close Encounter Resource Organization. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. We'll be right back. More with Yvonne right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We're also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Yvonne Smith. Her group is called CERO, the Close Encounter Resource Organization. And the phenomenon when it comes to abductees, contactees, and of course, experiencers is something that is now being discussed more than it ever has before, Yvonne. When we consider what we know and then what must be, I'm taking a guess here, but is it millions that have had these experiences?
Oh, absolutely. It's a worldwide phenomena. So definitely it would be in the millions. This is very widespread. And the reason I could say that is because I've traveled to different countries throughout my career, and I have spoken with people, even if they couldn't speak English. When I would show my slide presentation, something in that presentation just resonated with them. And so they would come up to me and, have a translator with them and will tell me, whether it was a triangular shaped mark on their body or the way the alien beings look. So that's when I realized, oh my God, this is, this definitely is worldwide.
The other part of it, when we're talking ET, extraterrestrials, craft, being taken on board and what may happen there, the experiences are as varied as the number of experiencers, what actually happens. But how is it that, and this is the question that everybody has, where obviously millions of people are going through this. Everybody can't be crazy. Why aren't we seeing this type of interaction in the millions? That's the other part. I can understand, Travis Walton or Calvin Parker or Betty and Bart, is singular events. But when we're talking about millions, now we're talking about a phenomenon. Why isn't that we are not witness to the millions of abductions?
I mean, there are cases that people do witness. They're not the ones that you see at conferences or written books, because many of these people don't want to talk about it. They're too stunned. So there have been instances, not as dramatic as Travis, or as clear as Betty and Barney, because they were driving. But when we're talking about why, well, of course the Linda Cortelli case that Bud worked on. I remember he was telling me this early on. They were witnesses to her abduction. As fantastic as it sounded, and I've spoken to Linda. I've spent time with her. I believe her. I know she truly, that happened to her. But these beings, they work in secrecy right now. They have an agenda. They have a job to do, and they're doing it. It's going to be up to them to decide if and when they're going to actually show themselves. So we're not seeing, and we're not hearing about these fantastic cases all over the world, unfortunately. But I feel, and as other abductees' experiences are feeling lately, that we're getting close to something, Jimmy. We're getting close to, and I'm not gonna use the word disclosure, because that's been thrown around so much. It's not gonna be from any government. It's going to happen where no government is going to be able to deny that they exist. People have been contacted, and it's going to be it is going to be the abductees, experiencers coming forward that's going to drive this whole thing. If the public knew who the caliber of people who are being abducted and keeping it quiet, because there's such a taboo around this, and they're afraid of losing their careers and families and all of this, which is I'm fighting until we don't have to worry about this anymore. We have to speak about this openly. People from all walks of life. Anybody, no one's immune. The alien beings show no discrimination whatsoever. So we will see. I mean, and you mentioned my latest book, Chosen, in the second part of it, and that's the one, if anybody looks on Amazon, it's not the black cover. That's my first work of Chosen. It's the second one that I did that I added to it, the white cover that's on Amazon. The second part of it, the urgency, because I have heard from so many abductees, experiencers who don't know each other, still don't know each other, were telling me that they were feeling something was coming soon. And this has been back about maybe 7 years now, where they were feeling something. And now with this last year, before COVID, they were saying it's getting closer, it's ratcheting up, and I asked them, I've asked a group of people, is it COVID? Was it COVID that was the urgency? Of course, COVID came in and changed our lives. But they said COVID was part of it, but it's not it. So, we have to keep our eyes and ears open, for something happening.
Is there with people that reach out to you? Are you seeing an increase in activity and in the amount of experiencers that are starting to come forward?
Oh yes. I mean, as I mentioned, every week I get new people, one, 2, 3 people a week. But every week I'm getting someone new seeking, my services and wanting to book, as soon as possible. People are telling me,
yeah. Why do you think that is? Is it because they're reading more, they're seeing stuff in the news, and they're starting to remember things and looking back? Or is it, are these contact experiences happening today, and you're getting, somebody's reaching out to you saying, something happened to me last week, as opposed to something happened to me when I was 15 and I'm 60 years old?
The answer is yes, all of the above. Something happened to them many years ago that, they think about just like your experience, Jimmy, you remember it. It's been the same how you remember it. That's how they remember partial of what happened. They know something happened, something strange. And then with some of them, something happened very recently, which drives them to want to know, even though they're scared, but they want to know what is going on. And some of them have told me, the new people coming in, is amazing how it's almost like they're reading a script. They tell me, I feel like I'm supposed to know what happened to me, but I'm supposed to do something with it. I don't know if I'm supposed to lecture. I don't know if I'm supposed to write about, but I'm supposed to do something. People told me this, and they still don't know each other.
Right. And the new influx, which I see it, and and I'm in agreement with you. I can kind of feel something where we haven't had. It wasn't like this before, where the experiencer phenomenon, the people of Earth side of things, was always in the background. Right? That was always, you went to a conference, there was the experiencers group that would get together, and they were, but the conference itself was always, the event.
Well, the nuts and bolts, and
right.
Yeah. Sightings and things like that. But I'll tell you, it's the abductions and it's the abductees, experiencers. They're the ones that are in the middle of all this. I mean, those are the ones who are, like I said before, are going to drive this, where the public's going to know, the government's going to realize, they have to come clean now and stop all of this foolishness, and treating us like we're all idiots. Something is going to happen where they're not going to be able to deny it anymore.
What's the agenda? What's the agenda? What's the chatter on the street? We have hybrids. We have the David Jacobs take on this, and other, hypothesis, right? They're all theories. What's the agenda? And talking about some of these, DNA programs and yep. Of course, the hybrid programs and the hybridization things that are going. What is the agenda?
Well, that's the whole $1 million question, Jimmy. I mean, I'm asked this all the time. They haven't told me anything yet, but I'm still asking them. But I still feel that it's the abductees, experiencers are, the main focus, the hybridization program, why they're creating a hybrid race, why is this happening? Where are they all going to go? I don't know yet. I know my colleague David Jacobs feels that they are, it's going to be more of a takeover. I believe that's what I remember reading in his last book, the Walking Among Us, I think it is.
Yes.
And he talked to me about a couple of the cases in there, but I'm hoping that is not going to be the case. I think they still need us. They for our material, our DNA, how we can reproduce, but the thing is now, I just talked to somebody not too long ago about this. About 20 years ago, I couldn't even say this, but I've had people tell me that they were sure that they spoke to and met a hybrid here. And so I feel that they are here, they have been here. They don't look any different from you or I. We, like the weekend we all spent together talking, having drinks. I mean, the hybrids could have been in that hotel and we wouldn't have known it until they say you sit and talk to them, and it's something in their eyes where they could see right through you. There's something different about that, where they can read your mind. That's where the difference is. But if you're walking by them, if they're standing next to you at the check-in counter, anywhere, you're really not going to notice. They've improved so much since, we first started talking about them 30 years ago. So, what the end game is here, Jimmy, I think we're all going to find out together.
Well, aren't we all hybrids? Right? In that this visitation has got to have gone on for hundreds of thousands of years. This isn't a new phenomenon. Right? So aren't we all, at the end of the day, aren't we all hybrids? Right? And so if they were visiting now and continuing, well, I don't know why we feel that we should notice them or that they should look any different when this has probably been going on since the very beginning. Homo sapiens sapiens been here for 200,000 years. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Not any longer. And we just appeared here 200,000 years ago. And when you just look at that part of the science, Yvonne, it says to me, somebody messed with this 200,000 years ago.
Yeah, sure. I've heard that theory. All I know is that since I've been studying this, I've been in this for 3 decades now. Back about 30 years ago, if they had placed hybrids here on Earth, we would have noticed them. They with the wispy hair and the larger than regular human eyes and very, very thin bodies, we would have noticed them. And I think that's why they didn't do that. Nobody had said to me over the years that they saw somebody like that. They would have been very noticeable. So they've improved over the many years. And that's where I think where David decided from his cases to write this book. And, his clients have come across these hybrids and teaching them how to live here among us.
Is there something to be, I just listened to your comments about this. Is there something to be afraid of? If you listen to David Jacobs, and we all have, and he's been a guest on this show, of course, but he scares the crap out of me. You know what I mean? If you listen,
most people, yeah.
Right, and if you listen to his words, and he doesn't mess around, he's very direct about this. But he comes from a position of something that we should be afraid of, something that we should be fearful of. Should we be fearful? Is there something to be afraid of?
Well, the thing is that we don't know. We don't know what their end game is, what their agenda is. Why are they doing this? Not at this point, nobody has the answer. So I think we could rest well by saying that David doesn't have the answers either. I respect him. I love him, but that's his theory. And from, what he studied from his cases and what he has come up with, that's why he wrote the book. But I still tell people, if someone is telling you they know the answers, this is what's going to happen, run the other way, because no one knows right now. No one knows right now. And so whoever's listening out there to this show, I don't want them walking around being fearful of living their life, because, just because someone says something and they wrote a book about it does not mean that's the answer. Well, and I'm not being disrespectful to my friend.
And I know that you're not, but there's another part to this, and we can continue after the break. But is there? I keep going back to People of Earth. Is there? And it's a great show, and it makes you laugh. But like in your group, for instance, are those that take this a little bit too seriously, where we can't joke about it? We can't. That this is something that needs to be absolutely taken seriously, and it should, right? But that, you know what I mean? It is a very, very serious subject, and we aren't allowed to step out of bounds with it.
Oh no, I think laughter is the best medicine in whatever situation. I mean, in our support group meetings, we've had so much fun and so much laughter. I mean, who wants to come to a meeting every month when everybody's depressed and sad? I mean, nobody wants to do that. I mean, it's just, we laugh at ourselves, and that's what makes it fun. So, there's been other shows. There's been commercials, on TV, and supposed to be, with a comedic flair to it, where, you laugh about aliens and so forth. No, I mean, I think laughter is wonderful. It lightens everything up. It's still going to be a serious subject no matter what. It doesn't make it go away.
Are you, after doing this, as you just mentioned, for 3 decades now, are you still surprised? Do you have somebody show up at the meeting and go, oh, all right, that I haven't heard before?
Most of the time, it's what I have heard hundreds of times. There's been a few instances where something was a little bit different. So when that happens, it's like, okay, make a note of it, kind of put it on the back burner, and see if I hear it again and again, just like I did with the cases I started working with 30 years ago. That's when that's when I think, okay, I'm going to put this abduction scenario together, and that's how I created my lecture. Because I had so many cases with similarities, and, the drawings and pictures and so forth were all very similar, but there's always something that could come up that could be just out of left field, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen, because, we're really dealing with, a very complex subject. So I just listen and see when people come up with something like that, something out of left field. They're still having the similarities with other cases. So sometimes something's just a little bit different.
The moment that we get some official confirmation, no matter where it comes from, it could come from the sky, it could be a mass sighting, it could come from the government, it could be anything. But the moment that happens, are we going to see a huge amount of people now coming forward that wouldn't have come forward before? And then the other part, the vindication part. See, I told you this happened to me. I kept telling you for years, and nobody, but now this is showing that my experience was real. I think that creates another problem in of itself, right? Where we're going to get imitators, copycats.
Oh, I think I'd be able to weed them out. I think I've developed a sixth sense over the 3 decades that I've spoken to a couple of homicide detectives where they develop a sixth sense and they can feel and tell if someone's lying to them. You just kind of develop that. I don't know what it is.
Oh, you know what? Okay. Yvonne, you don't have to name. I'm not asking you to call anybody out. But did you have that experience where somebody has contacted you and you're going through it and they're expecting to be, and then you've had to go, you know what? CERO may not be for you. And you had to tell somebody no.
Yeah, usually I've been able to weed them out before they even come in for a session. By what they fill out what they put on the questionnaires. I sent out 2 questionnaires, having a conversation with them on the phone, asking about their family history. There were a couple times over the years, not very many, I could count probably on one hand, where somebody had, they thought it was a vivid dream and something, I was taking notes and this happened and that happened. And I put him in hypnosis and, just waiting to see what came forward. And really it was, I was wanting to see if they were blocked. I was trying to get through the block, but, where I had to say it sounds like, this just could have been a dream. But I could tell that really before that happens, as I mentioned, by their family history and what happened to them, since they were, back in childhood.
I want to continue this when we come back after the break. I don't know if somebody would be relieved with that news coming from you, like, whew, okay, or, right?
Right.
Our guest tonight, Yvonne Smith. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fade or not? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Yvonne Smith is here. More with Yvonne in just a second. I want to talk to you about Virtual VPN. As you can see, we've got a new studio. The bunker has been moved. We are seriously guerrilla. And right now, Virtual Shield VPN is what is keeping me private. Got to do it. And it was great today. Fired up all of the computers here. And got everything that first thing that popped up, Virtual Shield, and said, okay, you've got a new location, you got this, that. It's just great to see the software doing its job. Incredible. Got all the computers here. Everything is running Virtual Shield VPN. Designed from the ground up, man. That's it. No log policy. Encrypted servers all around the world, keeping your internet traffic private. You've got to get Virtual Shield VPN today. Everybody should have their own VPN. Simple to do. Go to virtualshield.com/fade to black. That's all you got to do. Do that. You will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. And if you don't want to type into your browser because you don't have a VPN yet, I get that. Just click. Go right now, video description box below. Click on the link, Virtual Shield. Our guest tonight, the one and only Yvonne Smith. And now, Yvonne, this is the question that you probably answer the most, but it needs to be asked. And for the audience tonight, there's all the talk out there about regression and this type of therapy and hypnosis, that sometimes the therapist is accused of asking leading questions. guiding someone into these experiences. That's an issue that needs to constantly be addressed, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've heard it all. Unfortunately, there's always the bad apples, that could ruin it for others. Possibly therapists that are not trained in doing this work or any type of regression at all. But you have to pose the questions very carefully and not lead. When I pose a question, I'll wait for the answer, and anyone can listen to any of my sessions because I record everything. And even my clients over the years said, my God, I was listening to my session, you hardly say anything. I'll just put a question out and wait for them to answer, to give me the answer. Then I repeat back. If they say, I'm in a blue light, blue light, it's very bright. And then I will repeat that. Okay, tell me what were the sources of the blue white light. I don't say, now you see a light, right?
On the alien ship, right.
On the alien ship, and you're going up. So, I'm joking about this, but I just heard that, all these years that, all hypnotherapists are leading people into, having a experience, and it's just not true. For people who are properly trained, I went through college to get my certification. Then I was lucky enough to observe some of Bud Hopkins' sessions. He became my mentor. I was just very, very fortunate. And now in this October, I had it booked for last October, but I had to cancel the therapy training sessions that I had set up because of COVID. I had to cancel everything. I'm now setting them up again for this October for therapists who are interested in doing this work. And I've been, when I go to conferences, I have therapists come up to me all the time saying, how do I do your work? How do I, learn how to do this? So I decided, I feel the urgency in getting people trained. I would love to have a therapist or several therapists in all 50 of our states. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, when something happens, people are going to come out of the woodwork saying, yeah, that happened to me. And they're going to need help. They're going to need answers. They're going to want to know exactly what happened to them. So if anyone is listening out there right now, and you're a therapist, you have your practice, you already know you have the mechanics of hypnosis, then email me and I'll send you the information. There's only going to be a few slots because we're doing it in my colleague Kim Trotman's office, and so it's going to be very. We're only going to allow so many to be able to register. I'm not sure the capacity yet. But if this is successful, I will schedule another one because, thinking about Jimmy, Bud Hopkins is gone. John Mack, is gone, dear friend who I also lectured with. David is now not doing much because I remember a few years ago he was worried about his failing memory. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, we've got to get more people. I've got to get more people trained.
You have to. You absolutely have to. And there's another part to this too, as well. That Bud and John aren't with us any longer. There was something about Bud that impressed me, and to this day, when I think of Bud Hopkins, I don't think of Bud as the nice guy. Now let me finish, okay? Before
that's okay.
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 Bud did not want BS those that perpetrate it inside of the UFO community. We had enough issues to deal with.
Oh, sure.
And he was steadfast in calling people out, and he did not appreciate it. And that we need more of that in the UFO community too as well. We do need the therapist, but we need people with Bud's attitude. He was willing to not only stand up for the UFO community, but call out when it needed to be mentioned, because so many people don't want to talk about that aspect of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, those of us who've been in this field long enough know, there are the charlatans, there are I don't know what to call them, but, I find that over the years, too, people that come into this field for all the wrong reasons, they're going to be rich and famous and whatever else, they tend to weed themselves out. I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't tend to worry about that part of it. I have enough on my plate with the people coming to me for help and keeping our support group together, because that's really important. So I don't know. We'll probably have more people like Bud come in and call people out, but for the right reasons. Not for
vengeance.
Not for all the wrong reasons, or vengeance, or blaming somebody that shouldn't be blamed. All of that. So I don't get into any of that. Bless Bud's heart.
I mean, he had me. There was a couple of times where I was just like, man, it's getting hot in here. Woo, Bud ain't playing around.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go there right now. There's no reason to do it. But Bud was the sheriff. He was the sheriff.
Yeah, he was.
You don't want to mess with Bud.
No.
Now, I want to talk about hypnosis for a second. I had one experience. I don't think I've ever talked about it before on the air, but I had a friend that was a therapist that was part of our group of partiers back in the early 80s. And he said, oh, yeah, I can hypnotize anybody. And I said, okay, all right, let's go. And and I said, you can do it right now. Yes. And we had like 2 or 3 friends in the room that were there to witness this. And I did the whole thing, right? Laid down on the couch and went through it. Yvonne, it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And I don't know if it was me. And I've heard people talk about this before. Is it just my reluctance to it? Not even reluctance, but inside of my, how do I say this? Where maybe I'm skeptical, is there something deep seated in me that won't allow me to be hypnotized? Or can you do you have a fail safe method? Can you get Jimmy Church on the couch and I am going to be hypnotized?
As I was going through school for this, I learned that anyone can be hypnotized, anyone. I've had the most difficult clients who were very, not skeptical. It wasn't that. It was just they were used to being in control. I've had people who own their own companies and always in control, but they wanted to know what happened to them. And finally, they were able to get into a relaxed state. And I figured if I can do some of those people, if I can get them hypnotized, I can do anybody. I could do Jimmy Church. But it just depends on, you were not in the right situation. You were with a group of people, almost like, you were going to be on display.
Right.
Well, that's not going to work.
Right.
Unless you had decided, okay, I'm going to trust him and you're just going to let yourself go. But I'm not surprised it didn't work. But it's that when people come in to see me, I would say 95% of the time, they've never been hypnotized before. And then we're looking into, something very strange. And we don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen at each session, but they come in with the intention of, I want answers. I want to know. And there's always resistance in the beginning. And it's nothing the person consciously does. It's just that, this experience and then going through regression is what we call unknown in the subconscious mind. It isn't something that the person is used to doing or knowing. So when an unknowns happen, the subconscious will block it, as well as the person having resistance. But once that breaks, and that it has to do with gaining rapport, knowing that, oh my gosh, did you hear that car? I'm sorry. Is somebody speeding down? I hope it wasn't an accident. Anyway, sorry about that. That startled me.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, I heard a little something in the background.
Wow.
But how deep? Okay. How?
Where did I leave off?
The willingness to come in.
Okay.
Some fight it, some don't.
Okay, so once the rapport is established, once they know they're in safe hands, I'm not going to use drugs. I'm not going to make them. I'm not going to control their mind, make them do something that's going to embarrass them. I explain all that before we even start the hypnosis. I dispel all the myths about hypnosis, and it's up to them if they want to say, well, I changed my mind. No, thank you. They could walk out my door, but they're there because they really want to know. And so after the first session, which I always tell everybody is the most difficult, once we get through that hurdle, as they come in more, they become more conditioned to the hypnosis state. They become conditioned to my voice. They start feeling comfortable. Sometimes the first session, floodgates open. I mean, everything starts coming out because the person's waited so long, and they start feeling, they're able to verbalize what's happening, even though they think, oh my God, when they bring them out of hypnosis, they mainly say, God, did I make that up? How could that happen? And then other times I come across blocks, that we have to try to get through the block. And I always ask the person, do you want to continue or do you want to come out? And most of the time people will say, no, I want to know. And so I'm working with them. That's why I set aside 2 hours for each session, Jimmy, because it is a process. I sit and talk to them first. We go into the hypnosis, which I don't know how long it's going to last. Could be 10 minutes, could be an hour. And then we do the debriefing afterwards. So, like I said, it's a process, but anybody can be hypnotized. But if you come in my office and say, I'm not going to be hypnotized. Well, of course, then you're not going to be hypnotized.
Exactly. Now, is it, and I don't want to make fun or make light of this, but you can laugh if you want, though, okay? We've all seen, the dude, with the pocket watch on a chain, right? You were getting very sleepy, and it's just out, right? Is that urban legend?
No, that's called eye fascination. And you know what? I don't use that on adults. I wasn't.
Oh, you use it on children?
Children. Yeah, children.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes I've used it on children. I don't hypnotize very young children, and when they're underage, then of course I have to get the parents' approval. But I've used it a few times, and it does work.
Really?
But I don't use it on adults.
I always thought that was Hollywood.
well, Hollywood does it. I mean, it's, that's how they show it's very dramatic.
It is well, and back to my thought here. How deep? Because going back to you're getting very sleepy, right? Okay, there are, and what we typically see is somebody that is completely disconnected now, that is deep in it. They have no idea about what's going on, right? Bark like a dog, or whatever. And how deep do your sessions go with your clients? How do they remember? Or is this conscious saying? Are they aware of their surroundings? Or is it deeper?
Now, there is some amnesia when someone is hypnotized, when they're very deep. And that's why I record all the sessions. And I've had people listen to their tapes and they go, oh my God, I don't remember saying that, but obviously I did, because they don't remember everything. They were very deep. But not to the point where, when people think about, bark like a dog and quack like a duck, I mean, that's stage hypnosis. And the people that you see up there on the stage are the people that really want to be up there, and I don't know if you've been to stage hypnosis. The hypnotist will test the audience. Your arm is getting stiffer and it's raising up and you're not going to be able to let it down. And so they choose the people that their arm is way up in the air and they can't get it down, because they're not going to choose the people that didn't happen. Their arms are on the table, because they would be duds on stage. But it's totally different. We can't compare what I do to stage hypnosis. I mean, that's entertainment. Believe me, Jimmy, if I had gone into stage hypnosis after I graduated, I would be making a hell.
Yes, you would. Oh, man.
I mean, start working with cancer patients. So, but like I said, there is some amnesia while someone's hypnotized, but because we're dealing with the stronger part of the mind, which is the subconscious mind, which makes up 80% of the total mind power, people will hear things even sharper. They'll hear my voice. They'll hear themselves talk. That's why I tell people, don't wear anything constricting. Wear sweatpants if you want. Be comfortable when you come, because if they're wearing a tight belt, in hypnosis, they're going to feel that tight belt. If you have to go to the bathroom, you're going to feel it, and that's going to interrupt and interfere with your, the state that you're in. So that's why, I'm getting into like the specific now, before we even go into hypnosis, before they lay down on the couch, I say, okay, go to the restroom, do that, come back, get on the couch, get a feel for it, make yourself comfortable. So there are a lot of little things that I do that I know are going to make someone comfortable.
Have you ever been, Yvonne, have you ever been uncomfortable in that somebody is starting to say things and you have to stop the session? Has that,
No. Mainly, they will tell me when something is coming up where it's unbelievable to them. They're frightened, even though I use a lot of techniques, the fear or the pain, but, tell me what's happening, just report it. And if they feel that they really can't go on, they'll tell it. They have the will, and the control to say, Yvonne, I want to get out. I want to come out. And that's happened many times.
You have a safe word?
I put people in their safe place. And it's everybody's own safe place. It's your individual choice where you want me to take you when I go in, I take them in hypnosis and before I bring them out. And it's a place where I put them when things start getting really uncomfortable or frightening. And before I bring them out, I never snap someone out of hypnosis. That's the worst thing you could do. But before I bring them out, I take them to their safe, favorite place, give them suggestions or the suggestions that they ask me to give them, and then bring them out gently. And, and then we talk about what occurred. But
so you would take me back, and I want you to think about this. I don't do preemptive questions, but I've often thought, would somebody, including myself, would somebody need regression for a specific reason? And I keep going back to lost time, right? You need to go and figure that out. You got 2-3 hours here that are missing. You don't remember. Mm-hmm. You need to go and find that out. And then there's the other part. Why would somebody want a regression to go back to something that they remember everything about? Right? So, no, I want you to think about that for a second. Think before you answer. And let's take our break right here. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, the one and only Yvonne Smith. You know what's great, Yvonne? We haven't talked about past cases. We haven't talked about the famous stuff. We're just talking about, and that's the best. Yvonne, stay right there. We'll be right back. This is Fade to Black.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
you want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Another great conversation with Yvonne Smith. She's the best on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. And Yvonne, do you have a Twitter?
I don't really, but I have a new website that I'd like to announce.
And it is?
Hypnotherapist Yvonne.
I'm going to tweet this out right now. Hypnotherapist Yvonne Smith.com, right? Hypnotherapist.
Right. No, I YvonneSmith.com.
Okay.
I do have a Twitter account. I just don't really go onto it much. But, I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But
yeah,
there's my website.
Yeah, we're all figuring it out. Here is Yvonne's new site. And I'm gonna just get this out. It's going to be big.
I better learn. I'm from the old school. Remember, we didn't have the internet and all that when I started.
I know,
so
right?
I'm learning all this stuff.
Let me see here.
Yes.
Oh, I typed in the wrong link. Okay, I spelled something wrong. I'm sorry, everybody. I got to delete this tweet. I don't want everybody. What did I type wrong? Hip HYPNOTHERAPIST Yvonne. Two N's. There you go. That's my mom's middle name. Yvonne. Yvonne. And it's something that is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep. After all these years, I didn't know that.
And she was the best. She's no longer with us, but Yvonne is just something that always sticks out. As soon as I hear it, I always think of my mom. And
of course,
it's just a great name. It's a great name. Okay. So back to what I was suggesting right before the break is, in a general sense, is somebody coming to you about missing time?
All the time, Jimmy. All the time. That's what haunts them for so many years, and that's what I found so fascinating when I started cases was that, say, 20 years ago, there was a family riding in the car, and they were coming from the airport to home, and it should have only taken an hour. And they get home, and it's actually 2 hours later, but they don't really realize it until later. Things start coming up, but they don't talk about it for many years. And then something happens. Something triggers one of the family members into, gosh, do you remember when we were driving back from the airport, and why did we get home? Say is that I have so many of them in my caseload. And that's, thinking about this for 20, sometimes 30 years, they finally have to know, well, why did it take us so long? Why don't I remember what happened? So that's when I start working with them.
Experience, they remember everything. Is there a reason for regression there?
Well, that's a misnomer that they remember everything. They don't remember everything. They think they remember everything, but they remember what they take myself back to that time, and I tell them, no, I don't recommend it. Because even though they had a lot of conscious memory of what happened, something could come up, and it will, that they were not expecting, and they're there by themselves. So meditate to relax, I've had an experience.
And I wanted to talk about blocking. You mentioned this earlier, and it is something that is talked about a lot with regression and therapy, but I don't think a lot of us understand what a block is. And there's certainly a lot of negative thought behind it, too, as well. It feels negative to me. So what is a block, and is it something that is intentionally done to somebody?
Now, it could be where the alien beings will place a block into someone where they say they're not going to remember that. I mean, way back, Betty Hill was told, you're not going to remember this. Many of them are told, you won't remember this. We're not here to hurt you. You won't remember this. So they could have placed some type of block. Also, as I mentioned before, that's the job of the subconscious, is to block off all or partial of the trauma, the event. So if the alien beings place a block in the abductees, then they're not very effective, because I could get through those blocks. I've done it many times. They probably were effective for a while, but it's, when somebody starts awakening to their experiences, something triggers. If they saw something on TV, if they read something, something may trigger a memory, and then they get a flashback. That's how the subconscious works. It starts bubbling up to the surface, these blocked memories. And that's what haunts somebody. That's when they realize, oh my God, did this happen to me? Of course, there's so much more out there right now, than we ever had when I started on the internet. Of course, you have to separate the wheat from the chaff, as we all know, because not everything on the internet is true. So they have, they're able to go to the internet, YouTube, or whatever it is, to maybe find out what happened. But that's why when something triggers a hidden memory, and that stays with the person, that's when they become haunted. Like, it then affects their whole life. They can't stop thinking about it. That's when they know they're ready to, okay, I've got to find out.
What is typically blocked? Like the entire abduction event, or is it specific things inside the event that aliens and ET want kept secret?
You know, I have found that a person will remember the beginning of an abduction. Like they say they'll have a lot of cases where they're driving down the highway and they see a bright light above them, you know, or even a craft, but then maybe the bright light just shines on their car and just floods their entire car. They can't see anything. And then there's a black. All of a sudden they can't move and they become frightened, and then there's a blackout period. Or they'll remember sometimes being slammed into bed, like just boom, and it kind of, you know, it startles them. And then of course the obvious thing that something happened is if they find themselves outside, some of them in their pajamas or even in their underwear, they find themselves outside with the doors locked. They don't know how they got out there. So when I hear things like this, of course, my red flags go up. And then when we go through the process of the regression, then the scenario comes out. They're taken inside a craft. I mean, they're not in their bedroom anymore. They're not in their car anymore, or their entire car was taken up to the craft. I've had those cases as well. They're, escorted down the hallway or in another area of the craft. They start describing these beings. They're not human people. And then they, and it doesn't happen like A, B, C, D. It's just they'll be inside the craft. And they know they're not in their regular environment, and of course that starts frightening them. They go through a little bit of just anxiety, which of course they're going to, because they don't recognize where they are. And then it may be the next scene will be, I'm not standing anymore, I'm laying down. It feels like a hard table. So I'll ask them, what does it feel like underneath you? And then, the scenario goes on. So that's how, that's where they're blocked mainly, is what happened to them. And a lot happens to them once they're inside the craft.
Have you had a situation where your client has stepped outside of the normalcy of an abduction and has gone into data, facts, science, and other things that would be, outside of the, you just said it, right? I'm inside of a table. There's I'm on a cold table. There's outside of that, have you had somebody just start spewing out physics and science and numbers and languages and data?
There have been, they, and not always just in regression. People have what I call have been downloaded with information. They don't know where it came from. They will have visions, or maybe a dream where they're seeing numbers, like mathematical equations, just flooding them, or information like this is what they have to do.
Well, yeah, and so what I guess what I'm asking is, and I appreciate that, but are they able to do a hard recall and write these equations down and write these numbers down?
Yes. Some of them can remember, and I'm not saying 100% because I don't think any memory like that is 100%, but they remember where, because I think they are supposed to remember what they were downloaded with, or drawings, there's drawings, there's mathematics, there's messages, all sorts of things like that. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I had Terry Lovelace on the show, and the three of us were able to hang out. And Terry talked about and posted the picture of his cell phone data about him being 60 feet above his house. Doesn't remember, right? But here we've got that data that I'm talking about, right? There's something to not only back up his story, but to help us try to understand what happened to him. Pretty unbelievable, but he didn't remember a whole lot. Right. Were you able to assist him?
He showed that to me. That was incredible. I don't remember if that was around the time we were in Roswell. Of course, not last year, but since he lives out of state, he lives in another state. We haven't gotten together. He hasn't asked me to regress him on that. Maybe, at some point he will, but it would be very interesting to see, what happened there. Because
with his cell phone in his pocket because he's listening to stuff at night, and we all do that, or I do. I don't sleep with a cell phone in my pocket, but I do sleep with an iPad on my nightstand with a speaker hooked up, and we all do that today. We have technology to continue research at night. That's what I do. But for him, that is an example of if somebody should have regression, that event right there with Terry is exactly what therapists are for.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he decides, if and when he decides, I hope to, to work with him. I know Terry very well. Wonderful person. He's a part of CERO. So, yeah, that would be extremely interesting to find out, what happened. And he's got documentation there.
The people that reach out to you, is there, as you're starting to connect the dots, is it nearly always somebody had something happen when they were 4 or 5 years old? Has that become the norm?
Oh, it's always been the norm. It's always been. Way back when Bud Hopkins being considered being the pioneer of abduction research. He found that cases started back in childhood. I have found that. John Mack found that. David Jacobs. Children between the ages of about 4 and 5 years old will start saying things like something came in their room, or they saw, whatever they call the figure that came in. They never say alien. They never refer to it as an alien came in their room. One of the cases was, I think it was Captain Kirk came in his room. I had a case where, the child said there was a tall spider that would come in and talk to him. A tall spider figure very prominently when children describe this whole phenomenon.
With these abduction experiences, in a general sense, do you categorize different species and ET races, or is it typically one race, or is it just an infinite amount? What are you seeing more and more of?
Well, the beings that I come across and my clients come across, because they're being taken, those are the typical little 4-foot little bald, skinny guys that take them out of their environment and up to the ship. Then once they get into the ship, there's different ones. Like the taller, we'll call grays. They look like the little ones, but they're taller. Some of them are wearing a very tight-fitting jumpsuit. Sometimes they see an insignia on the jumpsuit. There's of course, the praying mantis figures very prominently in these experiences. He's usually large, and there is a chain of command on the ship. Then this praying mantis is probably about at least 7 foot tall, and he looks just very bug-like, in his face. Sometimes he's wearing a gown or a robe with a collar. There's, of course, the human-looking ones. We used to call them, back in the day, we used to call them Nordics, where they look very human and very perfect. And David mentioned one time we were having a conversation, he goes, those are probably the perfected, hybrids. But that was way back a long time ago. So, but, they probably are just the very human-looking beings. I know Travis mentioned them, and I have cases of, and I compared the cases of these two people who still have never met, and they drew the exact same human-like with the blue suit with white piping. That just amazed me. It still amazes me. So there are different beings that will be on the ship together. Sometimes there's the reptilian, but I don't seem to get too many reports of the reptilians as much as the others that I mentioned.
But these different races are on the not every ship, of course, but yeah. More times than not, they are all together as a group.
Right. Yeah.
I find that fascinating.
Yeah, and they obviously each have their job to do, their function. It seems like the ones that are the gray types with no hair, very spindly, large the eyes, are the ones that perform the medical experiments or the procedures. Those seem to be the ones that do that.
And when you hear about those, is there references with Earthlings, military, people in uniform?
Some, yes. And that what's important to differentiate happens is when I've had people describe, there's like a military person, he's wearing a uniform, and he describes a uniform. You have to be careful to differentiate, is that a real military person there, or is that something that the alien beings are placing in the person's mind to make them think there's a military human person there? But there are MILABs, those military abductions that happen. So I know Melinda Leslie, who I've known for years, she's documented many cases. She's had those experiences. So that does happen. So there's a lot that goes on that the alien beings can trick the person into thinking that's what they're seeing.
How many? Okay, Yvonne. We have a decision to make. I can either talk you into doing another 20 minutes with me after this next break because I'm not ready to let you go, or you can say and upset the audience, Jimmy, I'm going to go eat and watch some TV.
Well, I have to go because my little dog Bradley is giving me the evil eye, that he needs to go out, and I do need to eat. So I'm hoping that you'll have me back at your show. I love doing it, and I really appreciate this time with you.
Thank you so much, Yvonne. And again, for everybody, it's hypnotherapist Yvonne Smith with 2Ns.com. I've got that up. I've got that up in Twitter, and we put that out there. And Yvonne, is that the best way for everybody to reach out to you?
Yes, it is. It is now that I have that up because there's a contact sheet, and my email's on there. So my email's the best way because I check that constantly. Sometimes I don't always get to my voicemails, and those really accumulate. So yes, so I appreciate you putting my website out there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yvonne. And this is what's great for our audience and all of the Fadernauts. Yvonne, when we first started Fade to Black so many years ago, Yvonne was one of our very first guests. And I just appreciate everything that you do, Yvonne. You're very special. Thank you for everything, okay?
Thank you, Jimmy. You and Rita, God bless.
All the best, and the best to you and your family. Be safe out there.
You too. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yvonne Smith, everybody. Another great conversation with Yvonne. Now, look, I'm going to head towards a break right here. I got to get that in. But I don't have my phone system hooked up yet, so I can't take calls. I can't. But what I can do is I can answer questions in Twitter. Hashtag F2BQ. Hashtag F2BQ. Pop some questions up. We'll do a quick AMA. I'll give you my thoughts about my conversation with Yvonne, too, as well. All right? Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, hashtag F2BQ, and I'll answer some questions for the last segment. I don't have phones.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with Dan and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to ensure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to forbiddenknowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, forbiddenknowledge.tv. Again, visit forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JamieChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. All right, I don't have a phone. Well, I have a phone system. It's not installed yet. I should have it up and running tomorrow. Of course, we got Fader Night on Thursday, and I'll be good to go by then. But so right now, I can't take phone calls. We've got one more open to questions, and if you want to post some up, I will see what I can deal with. And I'm actually over on YouTube as well. I've got YouTube up and running in front of me, and I've got TweetDeck and Twitter up and running as well. And wow, I'm looking at my video on YouTube. That looks pretty good. That looks better than the bunker. Looks better than the bunker ever did. Except there's a lot of lights in here. So okay, let's see. I am over on YouTube really quick. Okay, let's see. Who is up first? Here. Okay. Let's see. Jimmy, do you believe in reincarnation? I do. For a lot of different reasons. But reincarnation makes a lot of sense. It does. It makes a lot of sense. And, but look at if I brought this up last week or maybe 2 weeks ago on the show. The Dalai Lama. Now, the Dalai Lama is starting to get up there in years. If you haven't looked into the Dalai Lama and how each the successors of the Dalai Lamas have happened over the years, who becomes a Dalai Lama? How do you get that gig? What makes you so special? Well, it's reincarnation. And okay, we're in a modern era of news, and the current Dalai Lama, when he was found after the last Dalai Lama left this earth, allegedly. Well, what I mean, did he leave? Is that the soul? What's going on with that? But after his body gave out, let's go into that zone, and go and read about that and how he was found as a young boy, and his story. It's incredible, and go and read the accounts of reincarnation with the current Dalai Lama. Go and check that out. It's incredible. There's something to it. Now, there's that part of it. I don't know, but I would assume that we're all reincarnated. How much do we remember from a past life? I don't know. I don't have anything sensational to report about a past life with me. Anything that I do or dream about or I think about in the past is nothing sensational. I wasn't King Arthur or I wasn't a pharaoh in Egypt or anything like that. It's just all boring stuff. But the recollections are there. And if you've ever had a dog, and if you're a dog owner, and you look deep in the eyes of your pet, you know they know what's going on. There's something there, man. Reincarnation is a real thing. I yes. Okay, so there's that answer. Let's see. Okay, let's jump over to Twitter. Let's see what's in Twitter. Let's see. What was my coolest moment in the investigation this weekend? I talked about it in the beginning of the show. Okay. Well, actually, there was a few moments. We did 2 ST sessions, one with Kristen and one with Susan. And but this is what is interesting with both of those sessions that I came away with. The conversations and the contact and the verbiage was all criminal. It was weird, man. We weren't, and I mentioned this, we weren't talking about sports or music or cooking. It was just all this criminal activity. And it was strange. It was just all criminal, and the names and the things. And there were a couple of moments that were just astounding and great. But going back to Kristen's, she described, and we were all thinking the same things as she was going through this. She described a crime scene. She talked about, it was female, a woman there was a Chevrolet next to a lake and this thing. Now, but I don't know if it was something from the past, if it was an unsolved crime, if it was somebody that was kidnapped, if it ended dark. We didn't get, or was this something that was currently happening right now, right? Something that was in real time. I don't know, but it was a weird, the theater of the mind as these ST sessions are going down, and you're able to paint the. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. The images of what was going on, that was absolutely incredible. But I got my first EVP. Never the other disembodied voice that I heard on the Queen Mary, that was out loud. We heard it in the room, and that wasn't an EVP. So I got my first EVP, and we were all of this was done live on the air, and so if you saw it happen, you know how cool it was. But Brandon was a little digital recorder, and he's recording. I'm asking questions, and we were going into these moments of silence, and we were down in the basement in this long tunnel with the evidence that's stored in there. Well, anyway, he kept playing it back, and there's nothing there. It's the silence, but boom, right there. And this is what was so crazy about that is I didn't have headphones on. I didn't have anything. None of us did. We're just down there with the camera crew, and in this tunnel, which had. I don't think there was any windows. There wasn't a back door. There was only the door, the entrance, which was quite a distance away. But we're in a tunnel in the basement, and it's quiet. I mean, you're underground, and there's nothing there. There's nothing going on. So when I'm asking these questions and we go to silence, you could hear a pin drop. I mean, there was, you could hear nothing. So he plays it back, and it's blank, 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 and there it was, right there. And I haven't listened to the analysis. There was a sentence, and then a slight pause, and then a continuation of the sentence, but you could clearly hear it. It was fascinating, knowing that it was recorded in silence. Yeah, that was really, really cool. Let's see. Jimmy, imagine, this is from Sarah. Jimmy, imagine that you are the hybrid birth child of two animals. Who was your mom and papa? Oh, man. Yeah, that's a good one. I would say probably sloth and rat. It wouldn't be anything cool. Triscale just said, Jimmy, where do you keep all of the cases for your guitars? I'm looking at a lot right over here. And what, you want to see them? I don't even know if this microphone. Here, check this out. I mean, see? So don't worry about what's in here. I don't know. But yeah, there's a whole stack of cases right there. Hard shell too. Those are some softbacks. So don't you worry. The guitars are here. I got to figure it out. I don't know if I'm going to put the guitars in back of me, but I've got all these wonderful walls in front of me too as well, and I can just go and go this direction. I kind of like the banner back there. That's pretty cool. So I don't know. We'll figure something out. Okay, let's see. Let's go back to YouTube. Let's see what's happening on YouTube. Let's see. Man, YouTube just passes by so fast. That's a big studio. Yes, it is. The walls behind me. You think so? You think that's what I should do? Okay. Jimmy has done a Mothman show before. Okay, no, I'm looking for questions. I'm looking for question. I can't read this. It clicks by so fast. Oh, okay. What's your thoughts about the Oumuamua paper basically debunking Avi Loeb's? Now, I heard about this. I haven't read it yet. So I can't really make a comment on that. About the paper specifically. But look, Avi Loeb, and I meant to bring this up tonight with Yvonne Smith. Avi Loeb, Harvard. John Mack, Harvard. Coincidence? I don't think so. And I think it's really cool that Harvard is tenuring scientists and researchers that have an open mind. You have to have an open mind. If you just want to close down, look, it's too easy to debunk Avi Loeb. It's just way too easy. I was talking to somebody last week off of the air, and this person said, "Look, man, it was a rock. It was a rock. It's a piece of a planet. It's a piece of an asteroid. It was just a rock." Well, okay. Is that the best that you've got? Is that the best? You can't say these things. You need to back it up. You can't be like the Michael Shermer skeptical debunker person. You can't do that. You can't just go, it's just a rock. How do you know? How do you know? Now, does Avi Loeb know? No. He's looking at the data and coming up with a possible answer to this because of the data. That's it. Nobody photographed it. Nobody saw it. It was already gone. It was millions of miles away when Oumuamua in Hawaii and the radar telescopes there picked up on it. It was already gone. It wasn't photographed coming in. It wasn't photographed going around the sun. It wasn't photographed next to Earth. It wasn't. It was already gone. So therefore, you know nothing. Nothing. So Avi chose to go and look at the data. Two things stand out for me, and I can't get it out of my mind. Number one, that thing turned inside of our solar system. Took a turn. Okay? Not affected by the gravity of the sun. That's interesting. What's going on here? Didn't care. There wasn't anything in this solar system of ours, Jupiter, that was going to rope this thing in and keep it as a moon in Jupiter, some asteroid orbiting the sun. It wasn't captured. It left. It took a turn and left. That's number one. Okay? A rock's not going to do that. That's number one. Number two, it hit the gas. It increased speed on its own. That's crazy. Now, maybe rocks do that. Right? Maybe. But Avi's basing everything on the data as it has been collected, and he's looked at it, and he's trying to figure this out. And to turn around and say it's just a rock or whatever, I don't know if that's what it says in this paper, but you can't. It's too easy to debunk because nobody knows. So the debunkers, they're going to be there. Avi is right here, and for me, Avi, who is very smart. And it's not just aliens and ET and extraterrestrials and intelligent life out there in the universe. That's not all of Avi's world. Avi is an astronomer, and he is looking at all kinds of things with the origins of the universe, the expansion of the universe, and dark energy and dark matter. He's looking at lots of different things all at the same time. Avi's a very interesting guy. So, okay, let's see. Let's go back to Twitter. That was from... Will I be posting the video? Yes, I explained to everybody at the opening of the show tonight, you're talking about Paul's video of the TR-3B that was shot in Odessa, Texas. I just got buried this weekend. I just got buried, and I worked all day Friday. I started on the video on Friday. I got everything that I was dealing with the ghost investigation on Saturday. Sunday, I had to tear down the studio. Today, I had to put the studio back together. But I'll get on the video, and I'll finish it. It has been started. Okay, I am working on it. Let's see. How much time do I have? I got time for a couple more questions. Let's see. Prefer the guitars and the skulls to the banner. Tim says he never received the membership you said you would give me. We sent out the passwords to all of the membership winners. Tim, if you didn't receive the password, everything was out there and was confirmed. I have no idea. Check your spam folder. Go back to those dates. Look at it. We sent out the codes the next day. So you got it. You just didn't see it. All right, Tim, go and look for it. I would love to have you be an official Fade or not. So you've been sent the codes. And if you want to reach out to Drew, send him your email and and have him resend the email to you, we can certainly get that done for you. All right. Let's see, Jimmy, this is from Third. Jimmy, if you could be any famous person in history, alive or dead, for a day, who would it be? I don't know. I haven't really given that any thought. Man. You know, honestly, for shizzle, Neil Armstrong. I want to be Neil Armstrong. The cashier at Starbucks asked me this the other day while I was waiting on my order, and I was totally stumped. I'm going Neil Armstrong, stepping on the moon. That would be pretty cool. What was your and Rita's favorite meal over the weekend? Oh man! Oh, we made a deep dish pizza. We have a new Chicago deep dish pizza pan, and we made a deep dish pizza. It's posted on my Facebook page. Absolutely incredible. Incredible. All right. Let's see. Man, I'm out of time. Let's see. I don't know what that means, Corey. And I just don't know what that means. Let's see. Not J Church Radio not being considered as an experiencer, but because we know WTF, we know is fact that we need an identifier tag also. Yeah, which would allow us all to be more comfortable and merge together, just like the. Man, something's not quite right here. And they said, well, okay, it's, you know what? We've had our eye on you for quite some time. And we just want to let you know, I'm a hybrid. That would be the video that I was talking about. Somebody posted it with the Russian lady whose eyes, her irises, blinked sideways. And I didn't go and chase that down. So video link with this lady's name in it and a little more data. I didn't follow up on it. That was last week. But is that an example? Right? Is that a human hybrid? That was pretty. When let me say this really quick in answer to this. I think that there were a couple of pretty strange videos that popped up over the years. One is the video of Obama. I think it's Obama doing a press conference or speak somewhere. But the camera pans out to the audience, and one of his Secret Service agents looks like he shapeshifts. Now, I've looked at that video so much. Okay, I don't think it's CG. I don't think it's computer generated. I think that what happens in this video is not computer generated. I think the video is authentic. Question is he shape-shifting? Or is it just some digital artifact with the lights and the sensors on the camera and how you just saw it, and the pixels just got jumbled for a second and then realigned? So he started off human, did this little thing, some errors in the video, and then it comes back and it's correct and he's there. Is it that? Possible, right? But that video is fascinating. It's fascinating. I think it's an authentic video. I just don't know if it's a shape-shifting reptilian on the Secret Service. But then there was the video of Zuckerberg blinking with the reptilian eyes and the thing. And I went back and I looked at that, and that was some kind of artifact in the video. I would love to believe that that Zuckerberg is a reptilian, shape-shifting, crazy Illuminati overlord. All right? He looks like he could be all of that. But the blinking, and so it was an artifact. That was something that was happening in the video. I saw a newscaster that was, and it's something to do with the video and the way it's picked up, because I saw the same thing going on with a female newscaster and her blinking, looking like it was. There she is, right there. Okay, what's her name? Yeah, that's crazy, man. Look at that. Yeah, that's something. You should post the whole video, Kaz. That video is crazy. And it's real. It's some kind of muscle control. And then I read somewhere last week that this is not that abnormal. The muscle control on the iris that, so Zuck was on the blink. Yeah, that's a pretty good video. Okay, all right, let me see. Let's get back to the questions. One more before we go. I got 1 minute left. And let's see. 222. Before I run out of time, I want to get one more good question. Let's grab something from YouTube. And then I'm going to get out of here. Man, I am going to face planet tonight. I am exhausted. Let's see. Do you think there's a connection? This is from Mr. Barrett. Do you think there's a connection between deja vu and past lives? Like maybe you've already lived this life and are, I've talked about deja vu so much, but, and I enjoy deja vu. My comments that I used to make about deja vu when I was very young this is what I used to say. I remember these statements coming out of my mouth when I was 9, 10, 11 years old, and I ended up repeating it year after year after year. I felt like somebody had access to my book of my life and knew how things are moving along. And that how is it possible that somebody... that events could happen. I'm remembering them. It's happening in real time. This isn't my imagination. And I could sit and listen to somebody's sentence come out of their mouth, and I know word for word what they are saying, and I know what the person next to him is about to say in reply, or she. And I play it out. I just sit here and catch it all. How does somebody know this in advance? So yes, I agree with that, Mr. Barrett. I often feel that, and is there, are they one and the same? Are they both the same things and we're just experiencing them differently and they're totally related? I totally think that. Totally believe it. Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Does anybody remember remote control President Washington at Disneyland in 1970? No, but I heard about that. I didn't get to Disneyland until 1985. And with that, this is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I want to thank Yvonne Smith for coming in tonight. Great conversation, as always. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarion. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitello, Mark T. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Kathleen Marden, right here. Until then, everybody be safe. It's time to fade to black.